Yo, what's up, boys and girls? It's Desperado here! So, I'm about to discuss about Pokemon. It's a Friday, alright. Around 3 months ago, Nintendo and Game Freak had released the game Pokémon Legends Arceus for the whole world to enjoy. And on January 28th is when hell started. And I didn't even get the game until the 29th. With some hard decision making. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't have been able to even get the game a whole week after it released. I'm not even going to bother telling you guys that story. Whew. Now, with Legends Arceus in my hand, and 2 weeks of playing and raging at the battles, I didn't even finish the game. Yeah, I got so mad at how broken the battles are that I stopped playing the game until, this video. So whatever I say about this game is probably going to be irrelevant, so just take it with a little grain of salt. So, Legends Arceus is an open-world JRPG, and actually the first fully open-world Pokemon game. The Wild Area and Sword and Shield do not count. And, you know, going from a regular strategy JRPG to a full-out open-world experience can be quite challenging. But I think that they actually did really good with this transition. Now, would I want it to be in every other Pokemon game? Probably not. I'm not too sure if I'm too into the whole open-world aspect of Pokemon just yet. The one main problem I had about this game, about the game's open world, was that it just seemed too similar to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, I know that's fine, but like, come on. Talk about plagiarism over here. Breath of the Wild will always hold a place in my heart as one of my most favorite Zelda games. Right after Wind Waker, of course. Breath of the Wild was something that changed Zelda as a game. And yes, I can agree that the breaking weapons mechanic can be annoying in some or another. But that just adds a bit of strategy to the game. Like, say you're in the middle of a boss battle or something, and one of your tools break. Doing that is going to force you to learn how to use all your other weapons. In most, if not all, Zelda games, your tools are more like chores you just have to have around. Most of the tools you do get can only really be used for that specific dungeon, and when you do find an area of which you can use it outside the dungeon, it's only when it's like for something very mediocre, like to use only once on, like, I don't know, to get like a chest or something, you know? In other Zelda games, tools are more or less kind of like useless equipables for you to find out any secrets there could be in the overworld. But I shouldn't really be complaining, because as useless as most tools are in Zelda games, they are actually pretty freaking cool. Like, look at this! Massive hammer. Just completely squishing these guys. Another thing I should add about the Legends Arceus that is relating to Breath of the Wild is, one, of course, the music. Now, I find that I'm not totally a fan of the music bits in the overworld on this game, mainly because they sound almost too similar to Breath of the Wild. In Arceus, the music just isn't that fitting, and I would have preferred a more Pokemon-sounding soundtrack, other than a Breath of the Wild one, because in that game, it actually does fit and sounds really good. And honestly, I can go on and on and on about the similarities of these two games, especially the side quests. Like, not the quests in general, no. But I'm just talking about how they are organized. They both have similar looking indicators on where each quest is, which is very helpful for a Pokemon game. But it just feels so, I don't know, samey. Now, the one thing that sort of made me mad about the whole game is the whole catching mechanic. Now, don't get me wrong, I honestly think it's great. I just wouldn't want it in any other Pokemon game. And the main reason for that would have to be the wild Pokemon. The thing I dislike about these guys are that they spot you too easily. It's just very, 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 very annoying. Like, I'd be crouching 50 or so meters away, right? And I'd accidentally stand up or activate the ride Pokemon, and they'd immediately hear and or see me, and just go straight for the attack. Like, come on! What they should have done is what games like Yokai Watch and Ni no Kuni do. What those games do is, depending on the strength of your yokai or familiars, the wild ones would notice that, and just, if they happen to be weaker, they would either stand and idle or run away. But for Legends Arceus, no matter the strength, weaker or stronger, whenever they spot you, you're screwed. Hey, speaking of Yokai Watch, do you remember when the 2.0 update on the second game basically broke the entire game? In the sense that some yokai weren't even obtainable anymore. So completing the medallion would have been impossible. Unless you have some friends who are willing to touch trade you with them. But seeing as the 3DS isn't as popular anymore, I don't think you'll ever find someone who still carries around their 3DS with them. Hey! Speaking of no one carrying around their 3DS anymore, have you guys seen the video of the guy walking around New York for hours trying to get a Streetpass on his 3DS? If you're unsure of what Streetpass is, it's basically, and I'm quoting this from the Wikipedia, Spot Pass and Street Pass are communication systems first introduced in Nintendo 3DS. Spot Pass was later incorporated into the Nintendo 2DS models of the new 3DS and new 2DS and Wii U game consoles. Street Pass isn't the Wii U. Whatever. Spot Pass was delivered content from the internet to the consoles, and Street Pass uses local Wi-Fi functionality to exchange data between 3DS and 2DS and Wii U systems. So, basically, if you left your 3DS in sleep mode, so just closing the screen, and walked around outside near a big gathering, you might Street Pass with someone else who was also carrying their 3DS with them on sleep mode, and doing that would register their Mii onto your copy of the Mii Plaza. And don't worry, it comes already on your 3DS. So after their Mii was registered, you were able to play one of the many minigames in the Mii Plaza application. Pretty lame. But, depending on the game that you had installed or was in the cartridge slot, something pretty cool would happen. Here's some examples. On Yokai Watch, and this would basically work for almost every game, so 1 to 3. You would be able to battle against a rare yokai in the Wayfair manner. And a way you are able to do and see this would be to activate Street Pass in the game. And if you see a purple eye in front of the many doors, you just spot passed. And one of the most infamous yokai you were able to find in the Wayfair manner was the one that had made countless Yokai Watch fans burnt out from a tedious quest to find the ultimate and thought to be the most rarest yokai ever, Panda Noko. For another example of Street Pass, in the game Tomodatchi Life, when one of your couples in the game had a kid, it is possible to set them off to go onto their own journey when they were old enough. So, about a week old, I don't know. And after you had sent them off, this is when the street passing starts. If you and a friend were far enough into the game and had a Mii that was set off onto an adventure, once you had turned on Spot Pass in that game, that Mii would actually go to your friend's island and stop off at the campsite there. And same goes for their Mii too. They would also go to your island. It was pretty cool. Now, that's all I really have to say about street passing and such. Now back to Pokemon. If there's one thing I gotta say I'm not too much of a fan of in this game, would have to be the controls. Whew! So, speaking of controllers, am I right? Have you guys ever thought about video game controllers before? I know I don't. Only sane people are able to talk about them for about 23 minutes. Me? Probably like 5. So, about those video game controllers, let's talk about them. The first controller I'd like to take a look at first would have to be the original Sega Master System controllers. This was back when game companies started to know how to actually make game controllers, and not whatever these were. And you can clearly tell that Sega practically copied Nintendo's Entertainment System ones. I'll give it a 2 stars out of 10. It's functional, but it just wasn't that comfortable. I always felt as if the edges dug into my hands as I was playing, and it was just a blatant copy off of Nintendo's. Next, let's take a look at the original Xbox controllers. Now, I don't own the very original versions of these controllers, called the Dukes. I have the later models, but I can still go off of these ones. Now, the thing about these controllers was that they were comfortable as hell. Just holding one felt so good. The one thing about them, though, was the button layout. For one thing, I have no idea what these two buttons do, and what their purpose was for. Also, the D-pad wasn't too hot either. Also, the whole controller felt kind of small. Maybe that's just me, though. For this controller, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. It's a good controller overall, just that the whole layout was kind of a problem. Except for the joysticks. Those were probably the perfect placing for them. Alright, PlayStation 4 controller. Oh yeah, and if you're wondering why they're all in such an odd order, I'm only doing the controllers from the consoles that I have. Alright, so, what about this controller? Overall, it's pretty alright. Very, very comfortable. But I don't like how they removed the start and select button on this controller, and opted out for options and middle button. I'm not actually sure if the middle button on a PS4 controller is actually called something, so apologies to all of the hardcore PlayStation 4 fans who knew what this button was called. Now, depending on the game, this middle button or the options button would be used for the start button, so basically the pause button. The share button is just what it sounds like it would be. If you click that, you can either 1. Take a screenshot of your gameplay, or 2. Take a video that can last up to 1 hour if you have the right settings enabled. Let me know if you guys want me to make a video on my PS4. Here's the games. With this controller, there's honestly isn't much I can complain about. The D-pad is okay, and the control sticks, honestly, they might be my most favorite. Probably way better than the Xboxes, to be honest. 7.5 stars out of 10. Alright, the Wii U. Oh boy. The frickin' Wii U. If we are going to be talking about the game controllers, and we start bringing up the Wii U in, we have to talk about the gamepad. And the one word I can describe out of it is amazing. I don't care who you are, but I love the gamepad. It was such a smart thing to do, and yes, I can agree, the ways that they intended people to use the gamepad in most games was utter trash. But do you know how awesome it was to play my favorite games and be able to watch YouTube or Netflix in private, and whenever I wanted to, as long as I was still in the TV room, no matter if my parents were even using the TV or not. I was still able to play games because I can see everything through the screen of the gamepad. Just the whole layout of this entire controller was great, and very comfortable for the hands. Cannot complain. And when I had the Wii U, originally had it, this was back when I didn't even have a phone or an iPad or anything, so this was all really cool to me. 10 out of 10 stars. Don't even at me in the comments, I don't care. Speaking of controllers for the Wii U, we can't go without talking about the Wii remotes as well. Now, the Wii remotes were a revolutionary thing back in 2006. Damn, 16 years ago. Wait, that's when I was born. But back in 2012 and 2013, people were completely burnt out of the thought of the Wii remotes. No one cared anymore. Even with the revision of the Wii Remote Plus accessory back in 2008, and the full Wii Remote with Wii Motion Plus inside in 2012, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. To be fair, it was great at the time, so I'll respectfully give it a 9 out of 10 stars. There's another controller related to the Wii U that I would like to talk about, and that would be the Wii U Pro Controller. The Wii U Pro Controller is ass. Just look at that design, and why are the control sticks all the way up there? But I don't own that controller. Instead, I have this one from Biogenic instead. And this is what you call a controller. Well, wait a second. This is just the Xboxes! Yeah, whatever. Can't complain. I find it funny when third-party controllers purposely change the design of the A, B, and X, Y buttons. Like, this isn't an A. This is the Aquaman symbol. And a fork. I'm not sure why they would do so. It's not like the alphabet is copyrighted. Right, Scott? 6 out of 10. And finally, the Switch. Now these are definitive controllers. One problem though, these are just too gosh darn small. Other than that, the placement for the button layouts are quite alright. Can't really complain. And I love how you can get these in variety of colors. I know you're able to do that with most past controllers I've talked about, but after coming from the Wii U and its controllers, not including the Wii remotes, this is a big change. 9.5 out of 10 stars. Oh wait, but I forgot something. The drifting. The Switch's Joy-Cons like to do this little thing where they got dust and dirt into them very easily, and in-game, it would make your character and the control sticks move sporadically. Hence, the name. 2 out of 10 stars. Alright, so, those are all the video game controllers that I own. Pretty cool, all of them. And it was pretty cool to actually see how they all changed throughout the years. Now, what was I talking about again? Oh yeah! Pokémon Legends Arceus! Sorry for that. Alright, let's get back right into it. Okay, so... Oh, shoot. My shoes seem to be untied. That's strange. I don't normally wear shoes inside the house. Whatever. Hey, speaking of shoes, my Uncle carries the biggest shoes ever. Like, oh my god, like they were so big. They were just like, wow, those are some big shoes. Oh my god.
A few moments later.
Oh shoot, it seemed that I talked so long that there's gonna be no more time left in the video. This isn't good. Here, I'll just give you my overall review. Quickly, before the video ends. So out of 10, I'll give it up.
The end.